Okay. All right. Let's look at our practice quiz. So, first of all, I want to tell you what each of the questions are worth point-wise. So you can label your quiz like this if you want. You don't have to. It's more just for your information. So the first 4 questions are worth 3 points each. And I'll tell you what I'm looking for to get each of those 3 points. So number 1, I'm looking to see that you correctly labeled your number on your graph. Number 2, I'm looking to see if you did the correct circle, whether it should be shaded or open. And for your 3rd point, I'm looking at the direction you are shading, whether that be to the right or to the left. So that's how you'll get each of your 3 points on here for questions 1 through 4. Okay, so let's do those 3 steps for all of these. Number 1, I have n is greater than 3. What should I do first?
Put a 3 there.
Yep, put a 3 above your tick mark. Circle, open or closed? Open, and what direction? To the right. Good job. Okay. Questions on that? Feel okay? Good. Number 2, n is greater than or equal to 100. What should I do first? Yeah, let's label it 100. Let's circle it. Shade it or open?
Shade.
Yes, we want to close that. We want to shade it. In what direction? To the right. That's where it's pointing. This is where the numbers are greater than 100. Good. Okay, number 3, n is less than 1.
Put a 1 on that line.
Put a 1 on my tick mark. Circle it. Yeah, to the left because n is less than 1. Here's where the numbers are smaller than 1. Good. All right, last one for this section. I've got n is less than or equal to negative 12. Yep, let's label negative 12. Circle it. Shade it. To the left. Good. All right, any questions on numbers 1 through 4? Those aren't too tough. That's kind of like the warm-up. Okay, let's go to numbers 5 and 6. These questions are worth 4 points each. And here's where you get those points. So the first point is for getting the correct value for n. The second point, 3rd and 4th point are the same as we did earlier. So it is making sure that you write your number above the line, the tick mark. Making sure that your circle is either open or shaded. And finally, the direction that you shade in, whether it be to the right or to the left. That's what I'm looking for. So even on these, if you get the wrong answer for n, if you do everything else correctly, you're only missing 1 point for doing that part wrong. I'm going to give you guys credit for what you did do correctly, okay? Because with these being 4 points each, that would start to knock your score down pretty low if you just messed up one little step and then had it all wrong. If you're showing me that for the n you did get, the rest of it's right, I'm going to give you points for that. All right, number 5, n minus 2 is greater than 7.
Plus 2 on both sides.
Good, plus 2 on both sides. My 2's cancel, and I'm left with what? N is greater than 9. So I want you to circle your answer so it's easy for me to see. And how are we going to draw the graph of that? Good. Put the 9. Circle it. Shade to the right. And it's an open circle. Perfect. Shade to the right because it's greater. Awesome. Okay, let's look at number 6. Yeah, that I am. I'm going to rewrite it. We don't have enough room here. So 6 times n plus 3 is less than or equal to negative 21. So what should I do first? Good, minus 3 on both sides. Okay, those cancel. So I've got 6 times n is less than or equal to, what is negative 21 minus 3? Negative 24. Good. All right, last step. Good, divide by 6 on both sides. And that is going to leave us with n is less than or equal to what?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. You guys get that? I know it.
I knew how to do it, but I forgot that negative sign.
Right, we gotta be super careful at every step. Make sure we don't forget something. That's all right. So we got n is less than or equal to negative 4. So our inequality is solved. We got the correct n. What's next?
Negative 4 on the line.
Yes, well, I'm gonna label negative 4 on my line. Circle it, and it is closed. Good. Why is it a closed circle? Yes, the or equal to, that line under the less than sign, that's what makes it a closed circle. Okay. Shade to the left. Good. Good, good, good. All right, I'll let you guys get caught up with your writing on that. And we're going to go to page 2 here in just a second. Give everybody just a minute. Okay, can we go to page 2? All right, page 2, we're starting off with some more, just like we did before. So number 7 and 8 on the top, these are also both worth 4 points each. It's the same criteria I just gave you before, where it's the correct n, the number on the graph, the circle, open or closed, and the direction. Okay, how do we start solving number 7? Add 2. Good. Okay, my 2's will cancel. Yeah, so I'm left with negative 12 plus 2 is negative 10. And then I've got my less than sign, and I have n divided by 4 still left. Okay, what do I? Yep, perfect. Times 4 on both sides. What happens to my 4's over here?
Cancel.
They cancel. Good. So I'm left with what?
Negative 10 times 4.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
40.
Good. So I have n is less than negative 40. And I circle my answer. Okay. Now I can draw the graph. So,
Negative 40 on the line.
perfect. We're going to label our tick mark with negative 40.
Open circle.
Open circle. What direction? Yes, to the left. Good job, guys. Good job. Okay, let's try number 8. What's my first step? Add 5. Good. My 5's cancel, so I'm going to bring my 4 times n down, my greater than, and what's this? 20. Good. Next step. Yes, I have 4 times n. To get rid of that, I divide. Use our inverse operations. So my 4's cancel, and I'm left with n is greater than what? 5. Good. Okay, how do I graph this?
5 on the line.
5 on my tick mark.
Open circle.
Open circle. To the right. Good. Very good. Perfect job, guys. Okay.
So we divided 4 or we times 4?
On number 8,
Yeah.
we are dividing by 4 because 4n means 4 times n. So we want to do the opposite to get rid of it. Yeah. Any other questions about those, guys? I'm happy to answer. Okay. Let's move on to number 9 and 10. So numbers 9 and 10 are going to be worth 5 points each. I know it. Y'all are about to earn a bunch of points for this quiz. So here is where those points come from. So you're going to have 1 point for remembering to distribute first or divide by -8. You see we've got a parentheses here. So we've either got to distribute -8 or we've got to divide both sides by -8. You're going to get 1 point for doing one of those. Same over here. You're going to get 1 point for getting rid of that divided by 2 on the bottom. Just like with our equations, when we have an entire side of an equation divided by 2, we have to multiply by 2 to get rid of it. So there's where the extra point, so here you got 4 points, 1 for solving, 3 for doing your graph right. Your extra point comes from doing that extra step, the exception, correctly. Okay, does anybody have questions about that? Okay, let's do one of these. Number 9. I've got -8 times 2 minus n is greater than or equal to -24. What should I do? Yeah, let's distribute. Now, when you are distributing, what operation are we doing? Multiplication. So distribute, multiply. So let's multiply each of these terms by -8. What is -8 times 2?
-16.
Good, -16. And what is -8 times -n?
8, -8.
-8 times another negative.
Oh, a +1. No, +8. I'm sorry.
You're good. So remember, if I have n by itself, that really means that there's
Yes.
1. So if I take -8 times -1, I'm going to get +8
Yeah.
n. Don't lose your n. So we're going to get -16 plus 8n. Okay. Is anybody confused about that?
Write it all back out, right?
Yep, then we want to bring the rest of it down. Let's keep everything organized and in a line. So we're going to bring down greater than or equal to, and we'll bring down -24. So this is,
+16.
yeah, now we're just going to solve it like normal. So guys, this is all just stuff that we learned before in our last unit. So this stuff doesn't go away. We keep on using it. Alright, so we just added 16 to both sides. The 16s will cancel. Then what? Good. And then -24 plus 16. Alright, don't shout it out, guys.
-40.
Not quite. Not quite. So I've got a positive number and a negative number, and we are taking -24 plus 16. That's the same thing as 16 plus -24. When we add a negative, we're just subtracting. So you could just do 16 minus 24, or we could do 24 minus 16 and make our answer negative. There's a lot of different ways we can solve it. Or you can just type it in your calculator. Let's see what that's going to give us. Negative 24 plus 16. See what y'all get. Negative 8?
Yeah.
Good. All right. So now we've got 8 times n is greater than or equal to negative 8. Are we done? No. We still got to get n by itself. Divide by 8. Good. My 8's cancel. I'm left with, yes, n is greater than or equal to any number divided by itself is 1. But since there's a negative, it's negative 1. All right. N is greater than or equal to negative 1. Is everybody okay with that? All right. How do I graph this?
I'm trying to figure out how to get out.
Negative 1.
Yeah.
Okay, negative 1. Good.
Full circle
Yep. Shade my circle in
to the right.
to the right. That's it, guys. Good job. You got positive 1? So let's go back a step. When you started with your distribution, oh, you divided. Okay, let's do it your way. Let's do it your way. Make sure we're doing it correctly. So if you wanted to divide instead of distribute, this is what it would look like. And let's make sure we get the same answer. So I've got negative 8 times 2 minus n is greater than or equal to negative 24. And I have a feeling that this is going to bring up, there's something that Lewis told me about that I did not realize that we didn't learn, and it shouldn't be on your quiz, but we're going to talk about it. So you divided by negative 8 on both sides, is that right? Okay, so divide by negative 8. And that's going to cancel our negative 8s and leave us with 2 minus n is greater than or equal to 24 divided by 8. What's that? 3. Okay, since they're both negatives, they do cancel. It'll be a positive 3. Okay, and then what'd you do next?
Add it up.
You added
I
2?
mean, subtract 2 on
Okay,
the side.
subtract 2. So that is going to give us negative n is greater than or equal to 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay, so you got positive 1, but you do have a negative n here. Yeah. So the negative has to switch sides over to here.
Okay.
What we're really doing is we know that that's negative 1n. So we would divide by negative 1 on both sides, and that would become n negative 1. There we go. Okay, now guys, here's where I'm going to bring up the point that I didn't teach you and where I'm not going to count you wrong because I didn't teach you. Okay, so technically, when we have a negative n and we solve and we have to change it to positive, we're supposed to switch our sign to the other direction. There's a whole thing there. There's a whole thing that we did not acknowledge. I'm still not going to acknowledge it. Just for you guys, we can deal with that in algebra, okay? But technically, I actually don't even think this is the correct answer. Because I think that at some point, since we started with a negative n, we're supposed to flip the sign since we changed it to a positive when we distributed, and then same with this. I'm not grading you on that, okay? Because I did not teach you that. So just know that that exists. There's someone out there that if they saw this test, at least this question, they would scream. They'd be upset because this is not necessarily the right way to do it. But on a question like that, I made sure all your other ones had no negative n's, but I did not take into account the fact that if you divide by the negative, it's going to give you a different answer. So it exists. We're just not going to acknowledge it. Okay? Wait till algebra. We'll learn more about that when we have more time. We're just getting real close to the end of the term here, so we're crunching. Okay, any questions about?
Better to distribute.
Say that again.
I said that one will probably be just better to distribute.
Number 10?
Number 9.
Number 9.
Yeah.
It'd be better to distribute. You could still divide by 8 like you did here.
Right.
You would just have to remember that if you get a negative n, you got to switch it so that you've got positive n and then your negative on the other side. But if you distribute, you won't get a negative n. Either one is fine. Just you got to keep your negative rules in mind. Okay, any questions about number 9? I'm going to grade this one real easy just because that's my fault. I didn't take that into account. Okay, number 10. We've got 3n plus 4. All of that divided by 2 is greater than or equal to 8. What is my first step? Great. Times 2 on both sides. So my 2's will cancel. And I'm left with 3 times n plus 4 is greater than or equal to 8 times 2? 16. Good. Now what? Oh, I heard like 3 wrong answers. Y'all. Okay, let's talk. Okay. When we solve equations or inequalities, this is last unit stuff, guys. We do addition and subtraction first. And then we do the multiplication and division. And we're using inverse operations, guys. Inverse. So if I have a plus 4, the opposite of that is minus 4. Okay? Everybody feel good about that? Quick refresher. Okay, so again, tell me, what's my first step? Minus 4. Good, on both sides. All right. Yes, your 4's cancel. Perfect. 3n. Greater than or equal to. You're okay. You're okay. I messed that up too. 16 minus 4. Yep, that's 12. And then what?
Divide by 3.
Yes. Divide by 3 both sides. My 3's cancel. I've got n is greater than or equal to 4. Good. Circle it. Now let's graph it. 4 on my tick mark. Circle it. Closed. I shade it. Right or left?
Right.
To the right. Yes. To the right. Awesome.
You right now, yo.
Whew.
Not about that.
Oh man. Okay. Last 2 questions on your quiz. Other than there is a bonus question on the back. We'll go over that too. But these are the last 2 I'm actually grading you on. These are the compound inequalities. Okay. So we're going to go through these real nice and slow since some of y'all missed those lessons. If you want to go back and watch the lessons, they're all on YouTube. They're all on YouTube. Please watch them if you're feeling shaky about them at all. So here's how many points these are worth. I am going to say each part of the compound inequality is worth 3 points. So 6 points total. What that means is I am looking to make sure that you have your number labeled, your circle tick mark, whether that's open or closed, and I'm looking at the direction, okay?
You said or goes away.
Yes, or faces outwards and faces inwards.
Okay.
So if you want to make a key on your thing, just or goes like that, and then and is in. Okay, so we've got two inequalities here. We cannot graph them yet because we don't have an n is less than or equal to or greater than whatever a number. We got to solve for n first for both of these. So I'm going to start by, I don't know, I'm going to make this side like purple just so I remember I can see the colors. I'll make this side green. Okay, let's do the purple one first. What's my first step here? Yes, add 8 to both sides. My 8s will cancel, and what does that leave me with under my line?
7n is greater.
Yes.
than 28.
Yes, 7n is greater than 28. What do I do now?
Divide by 7.
Yes, divide by 7 on both sides. And my 7's cancel, which is going to give me what?
4.
N is what?
Greater than 4.
Perfect. N is greater than 4. Should I go ahead and write 4 on my line?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but which part do I put it on? Do we know yet?
No, you gotta do that side
Ooh,
first.
yeah. Let's solve for this side first, because what if I write 4 right here and then this next number is smaller? My directions are going to be all messed up. So you do want to solve both sides first before you start putting them on your graph, just in case you've got to move anything around. Okay, so now I've got 3 plus 10 times n is less than negative 77. What should I do first?
Add 3.
Don't add.
Subtract 3.
Well, you're gonna have another.
No, you're not. Look at this, okay?
You're subtracting it under negative 77.
Yes, I am. So this is 10 times n plus 3. I don't have a negative n here, so my sign isn't going to flip. All right, so we're just going to treat this like normal. So I've got plus 3. To get rid of a positive number, guys, or an addition problem, inverse operations again, we need to subtract 3. Minus 3 from both sides. Is anybody confused about why we're subtracting? Okay, good. All right, what happens next?
Bring down 10n.
Yeah, my 3's cancel. I'll bring down 10 times n.
Is less than negative 77.
Less than, what is negative 77 minus 3? Negative 80. Good. And now I divide by 10. So, Lewis, what you were about to point out, I know that we are taking a negative number in our division here, but we only flip the sign.
No.
Oh.
That's what I was pointing out.
What were you pointing out?
Just there being 2 negatives on both sides, but you know, I get it now.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, so my 10's cancel, and I am left with n is less than negative 8. Okay, so good thing we waited to write our numbers, because negative 8, that's smaller than 4. So we want to put that one where?
The first one.
First. The smaller number comes first, because that's how our numbers are ordered on a number line. This is just a number line, guys. I just didn't write all the numbers on it. You could write the numbers on it if you wanted to. You don't have to, though. So there's 4. Okay, now let's look at our circles. Negative 8, open or closed?
Open.
Open. How about 4? Also open. Good. Okay, and then what direction do I shade for negative 8? Yes. So remember, we're looking at this inequality for that one. Even though we had to switch the side, we're still looking at those signs. So I have n is less than negative 8, and less goes to the left. So I'm going to shade to the left. Good. And 4 is to the right. Awesome. Okay. Any questions about number 11? Okay, I'll give you a minute to get all that caught up on your own practice quiz. Good. And then let's look at number 12. All right. I've got two different inequalities here. So one compound inequality, and I'm gonna color code a little bit, and I'll call this my blue one. Let's put stars by it this time. I don't know. And I'll make this one pink. All right. Let's look at the blue one first. My 10n plus 3 is greater than or equal to 53. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, guys. I'm like sleepy today. Okay, what do I do first here? Not 10.
3.
Yeah, so let's look at every part of this. I have 10 times n plus 3 is greater than or equal to 53. So if I subtracted n or 10, I just couldn't do that since it's connected to my n and it's being multiplied by n. We want to do our plus 3 first. So we'll subtract 3 from both sides. All right. My 3's cancel. Thank you. And 53 minus 3 is 50. Bring everything down. 10 times n is good. Greater than or equal to 50. Now what? Good. Divide by 10. And my 10's will cancel. So I'm left with n is greater than or equal to 5. Good. Okay, can I go ahead and put 5 on my number line?
No.
No, don't do it yet.
If you know the answer to the second part.
Right, if you know the answer to the second part, I guess you could. Or you could look at this where it says and I know that they're going to be facing towards each other. So since 5 is pointing to the right, I guess I could go ahead and put it there. But let's just be super cautious. Let's solve this one first. All right, 8 plus 7 times n, less than 57. What's first?
-8.
Yes, minus 8 from both sides. My 8's will cancel.
49.
Yep, 57 minus 8, that is 49. And I'm going to bring down 7 times n is less. Divide by 7, good. 7's cancel.
Bring down
N
the n.
less than 7, good. All right, now we've got both our answers. Let's graph them. Where does the 5 go? Where does the 7 go? 5 is smaller. It goes first. Close circle. Perfect. How about 7? 7 is open. Good. And let's look at our directions. 5 is shaded to the, yep, to the right and to the middle. And same with 7. 7 is shaded towards the left. So that's how we know it is in the middle. That's right. And inequalities are shaded in the middle, or inequalities are shaded on the outside. Okay, any questions about those? We good on those? Okay, the bonus question is kind of insane. Not gonna lie. So, it is bonus for a reason. It's a big bonus. You can earn up to 5 bonus points for this one question. So, here's where those can come from. I'm gonna say up to 5 bonus points. Okay, so you can get plus 1 point for getting in correctly on the first inequality. And another bonus point for the other correct n. So there's 2 right there just for being able to solve an inequality. Okay, the next bonus point you can get is for having the correct circles, whether they're open or closed. So since there's 2 here that are going to be circles, open or closed, it's going to be +1 for both. Basically, you'll get half a point for each one you get right. Your fourth possible, oops, I was about to write 4. Your fourth possible bonus is for having both of the directions shaded correctly. So either like this or like this. One of those 2. And your fifth bonus point is just for having numbers labeled. So, you miss a couple points on the quiz, no big deal. You can get a whole bunch back. Even if you don't know how to solve this, I know you know how to shade the circle. I know you know how to tell which direction it goes in. I know you can write numbers. Okay, that's like 3 automatic bonus points that you can get even if you get the wrong answer for n. Okay, so do these, at least try. It's worth it. I will give half points if you get something somewhat wrong. It's fine. Like I want you guys to do well, which you will. Okay, so there's your little key. Let's talk about what is happening here with these inequalities. This is a compound inequality, and we've got n's on both sides. So our first inequality is over here, and our second one is over here. I'm just making some separation. You don't have to do this if you don't want, but that's what I'm doing. Okay. So first of all, whenever you are solving an inequality, you really always want your n's to be on the left side. You want your n's to be over here of your equal sign or your greater than, less than. That way you can read it as n is greater than a number, n is less than a number, n is less than or equal to a number. We don't want a number is less than n. We want n to come first. So if I have n's on both sides, we can combine those, guys. We can combine. So I could either do -6n or -5n. I'm going to tell you right now, you should do the -5n. We want our n's on this side, the first side of the inequality. Okay, so that's how we're going to start. We'll subtract 5n. Just like when we did equations. Okay. So what happens here? Good. So I've got 6n minus 5n. That's going to be 1n. Or I could just write n. Either way is fine. And then we need to bring everything down. I've got -4 plus n is greater than -6. And what's next? Add 4. Good. Add 4. And the reason I would suggest not writing 1n and just writing n is, right, it's just one more step. Now you're done. You've got n is greater than -6 plus 4 is -2. You're done. There it is. That was only 2 little steps. It looks really scary, but it's not so bad, guys. Once you're really looking at it and making sure you know what to do, it's not as scary as it looks. Now, this one is a little bit different. I'm throwing you a challenge here. So, here is a case where you would have to distribute, because if I tried dividing by -3, I've got addition on this side that it's going to be a big mess. So whenever we have a quantity in parentheses, especially in an equation or an inequality, we've got to get rid of that parentheses first. So how do I do that, guys? What should I do? Yeah, we want to distribute -3 into each of these terms. So -3 times 2, what is that? -6. And now I have -3 times -7n. So I've got 2 negatives though. You got the right numbers.
Oh, positive.
Yes. So remember, like whenever we did polynomials, you know how when we would distribute a negative, it would change the minus to a plus? Same thing here. We've got a -3 going into -7n, so that's going to turn into plus 21n. I know, that stuff never goes away, guys. Okay, now we want to do what? Yeah, let's bring everything down. Keep it all nice and lined up. Being organized is only going to help you in the end. Okay, so now I've got -6 plus 21n is less than or equal to 24 plus 6n. Oh my Lord, that's a big one.
Would you add 6?
Yes, we could add 6, absolutely. Let's do that. Plus 6, and what am I adding 6 to?
The other 6?
No, the 24.
24.
We're on-
We gotta make sure that we're combining like terms. So it might be a safer bet to go ahead and get your ends on the same side before doing the -6 and the +6. But if you do +6 first, that's fine. It won't give you a different answer as long as you add it to the correct number. So we need to put it on 24.
So we're gonna do -6 from
Well.
21?
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
-6n. So here, let's go ahead and I'll do that at the same time, guys. -6n. Watch what I'm doing. I'm going to combine a step here. I'm going to subtract 6n, subtract 6n. That's going to cancel. Doing that all in one step. So now I've got 21n minus 6n. What's that?
15?
15n is less than or equal to 24 plus 6.
Why do we have two sixes? I'm so confused.
We have a minus 6 plus 21n,
Right.
and then we have a plus 6n.
Right.
So here, let's do something. Let's make all of our n's green. Okay, so we got rid of 6n by subtracting 6n from both sides. See that? And then we got rid of this -6 by adding 6 to both sides. Do you see what we did there? I just did it in one step instead of spacing it out in two. You want me to write it out in 2 steps? Here, let me write it out in 2 steps because I think I'm confusing some people. I don't want to confuse y'all. Okay. So let me just rewrite this real quick. If you understand what's going on, that's great. But I'm going to rewrite it just in case. Okay, so let's pretend we already did our distribution. So -3 times 2, that was -6 plus 21n is less than or equal to 24 plus 6 times n. Okay. So, Dorica, you did +6 first, right?
Right.
Okay, so let's do that. +6, and my 6's cancel. And I also do +6 under my 24. Okay. So now, did you bring everything down next? Okay, so 21n is less than or equal to 24 plus 6 is 30, and we still have +6n. Okay, good. Now I need to get all my n's on the same side.
So would I subtract 6?
Yes, subtract 6n from both sides. So my 6n's cancel. And I'm doing 21n minus 6n.
15n.
Yes, 15n is less than or equal to 30. And you see, we got the same thing here. We just, on this, where it's all squished together.
I think that's what confused me.
Yes.
They just started popping up.
And that's my fault. I shouldn't be doing all that. I combined my two steps just to make less writing for myself rather than see how I did +6 and then I did the -6n. I just did it all in one line,
Okay.
which you can do, but it's not smart to do that because it's easy to get mixed around and unorganized. So honestly, I'm being a bad example. Don't do that. Okay, let's go back to this. So we're all at 15n is less than or equal to 30. What now? Divide by 15. 15's canceled. 2. Good job, good job, good job. Okay, n is less than or equal to 2. So I'm going to write that here, and is less than or equal to 2. Okay, so there's our 2 bonus points right there. Correct n for both. +2 already. Now I need to make sure my circles are correct. So first of all, where does each of these 2's go?
-2 on the left.
-2 comes first.
We got open circle.
Perfect. +2 is next. And is that open or closed?
Close.
Closed. Good. And where do I shade? Both to the middle. I've got n is greater than -2, so I'm shading to the right where the numbers are bigger. And I've got n is less than or equal to +2, so I want to shade to the left where numbers are less or smaller. So there's going to be shading in the middle. Now, that does not mean that your bonus point tomorrow will for sure be super identical to this. I haven't decided if it's going to be an and or an or yet. So don't use this like a, I can't even think of the word I'm trying. Don't just copy and paste everything. You know, use your brain. Make sure we understand what we're doing, why we're doing it. Do we have any questions at all? How do we feel? We feel okay? Feeling all right? Okay, now listen, if you're not feeling all right, it's probably because you missed something. If you missed something, please, 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 please go back, watch the lessons. I promise you we explain everything in super great detail on all the other days. Okay? You can also ask me. I am a teacher. That's what I'm here for, is to teach you guys. Okay, I'm going to end this recording. There's no exit ticket today.